Greetings. What are the great ideas of yoga? The beautiful concepts of what we're doing when we do yoga? First off, yoga is a state. It's not a concept or a fantasy or a hope. It's a state of harmony of body, mind, and spirit. When we say mind, we include the emotions too. So we could say the state of harmony of body, mind, emotions, and spirit. So it has to be realized. It can't be just a nice idea. It's something that by shedding the tension out of the body, the turbulence out of the mind and heart, something that you experience, something that you enjoy as wonderful, as fulfilling. So that's the main idea of yoga. It's a state of consciousness that you allow yourself to live in by shedding tension and turbulence. So many people don't understand that it's a state that you develop. Then you're a yogi. A lot of people practice bits of yoga for years, but they don't realize the state of yoga. Okay. In the viewpoint of the great yogis who have written beautifully through the ages, you are here to do two things. Realize your true nature, that's the first one, and then express your true nature. That's what we're all here for. To realize our true nature and then let it express through us. Constructive living involves progressive understanding of your true self. That is to say, we don't know it automatically. We're associated with the senses and the thoughts and the feelings and the experiences and the ego states that we may be in. But go beyond all this, find your real self, abide in it, and express it. This beautiful inner self you have is called the Atman, which means your true self, instead of the self we put together through ignorance. Through awareness, we discover who we really are. What is the world? It's the field of action, where you express yourself and where you practice and develop. It's a beautiful thing that we can develop this awareness and be of benefit to our fellow human beings. It's beautiful. So here's what a student of yoga seeks to do. To develop, one, greater skill in action. It's not a matter of becoming spacey. Some people think yoga is kind of living elsewhere while you go through your life. No, yoga is skill in action, equilibrium and balance. Wonderful to be in equilibrium and balance. Then you're not just reacting to life. You are able, through that state, to express your true nature. And three is union, body, mind, and spirit, coming into union with the inner self, the spiritual self, and the infinite spirit. Then you're a yogi. And then you've received the gift of yoga. In yoga, we practice an appreciation of the law of cause and effect, which is called karma. We want to cause better effects in life. And those new effects that develop, that come to us, become new causes. So cause, effect, throughout your life, working with this field of action, the world, and expressing in a way that helps us to live in the state of yoga. It's profound. We call this confusion and ignorance of spirit, ignorance of our true self, we call it Maya. It's the delusion with which we view ourselves and others. And it's a shame that we are so limited and have so little knowledge of spirit and spirit within us and spirit expressing through us. But the Maya, the delusion, is also a profound misunderstanding of what's going on. We call it a delusion, an illusion and a delusion. Samskaras, that's another term in yoga, are habit patterns that are etched into our nervous system. And they can be wonderful samskaras, like playing the piano beautifully. Pianists develop incredible samskaras, or musicians, or anybody who's good at anything has developed wonderful habits that one can do more and more easily and more accurately and beautifully. So samskaras, habit patterns within us, are very important. We want to have the habit pattern of harmony of body, mind, and spirit, rather than ignorance of spirit. Your ego is your sense of self, which in most people is incorrect. It's not a true representative of our inner self, of our core being. So through yoga, we practice transcending from the ego, the false sense of self, into the realization of our soul and its nature, and let it express in us. The Patanjali Yoga System, the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, wonderful book. Everybody's got to have one. The Thread Ideas of Yoga by Patanjali, over 2,000 years ago, said some very beautiful and profound things about life, but the main one was shed the 5 kinds of, I'll get into this later, shed the 5 kinds of ideas and dwell in your true nature. Yoga is about dwelling in your true nature rather than your false sense of self. Our ego one day will discover that it doesn't truly represent us. It was something we put together to get through in life. But the yoga practices will ease away the false sense of self and allow us to abide and center in our true self more and more. So most people say, oh, I have an ego problem, or he or she has an ego problem, meaning that we feel so separate from others, we try to dominate them or get our way. Those are signs of the ignorant ego. Our ignorant ego is a counterfeit representation of us. It's not truly us. It looks like us. It has mannerisms that we subscribe to. But if we were to come from our soul, we'd have a different life, and we'd have a different understanding of what life is all about. So ego, false sense of self, unless you're enlightened. When you know your true self to be your real self and abide in it, then the word ego signifies soul. So for most of us, the ego is a counterfeit. But if we're realized, we can use the term ego to mean the real self. And some spiritual paths do. But in yoga, we mainly talk about the phony or false sense of self as the ego, and that we need to discover the true self. And that's important terminology because it helps us to progress toward the real self and to discard the false self and all of its delusions. Okay. Very often on the path, we have a sense of being called within, called to a more spiritual and happier life. So some people take up yoga simply because there's an inner call to put aside ego and experience soul. And you may be one of those people, because very often by the time you take up an interest in yoga, it's due to a sense of being called to a higher level of life. So, not everybody is called, but another sign you're called is you're restless for something better, for a deeper understanding, or to be a better person. You're restless for some change. That's a sign of the call. These experiences of being called lead to gradual awakening to your soul and your spiritual nature. And this is called spiritual awakening, proceeding toward enlightenment, discovery of your true self. But along the way, as you experience yoga, as you go deep in the state of yoga, as you awaken, you experience bhavas, moods of connection, and just being alone with God, just you and the Lord of your heart in a very wondrous state of well-being. That's called a bhava, B-H-A-V-A, a mood of love. Or samadhi, the thing itself, samadhi, becoming immersed in spirit. All you are experiencing is spirit, the source of all life and creation. So along the way, there's restlessness and the call, and then there can be bhavas, and then there can be samadhis, absorptions in spirit. It's very beautiful how one state develops into another, and one becomes a yogi. We don't use the word yogi to refer to people who've done yoga 2 or 3 weeks and are paying for a class. Of course, in the West here, very often people call themselves yogis right away, but the true understanding of a yogi is that the yogi has realized this, has experienced it, and is living in a state of yoga now. Okay, so what to do this next week or two? Practice being more skillful in your actions, including speech and thought. And throughout the week that you're practicing, pay attention. Let life teach you. Life itself can teach you about who you are and what's going on inside you, because very often we reveal ourselves in discussions, in behaviors, in our attitudes. So let life itself teach you about your character, concerns, needs, talents, and your true nature. So let me conclude. Don't merely react to life. Strive to sense and express your true nature.